Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
I'm going to be host. I don't know. You sound like Joe Biden over there. Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Katie's here.
Good morning on the Nissan.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Good morning. Nick, you need the universal Biden translator.
Yeah, that's on special. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Wait
it's
for about
an app.
45
You can
minutes.
download it. Yeah. You have to refresh it every day, though.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, what's going on? Somebody.
It was Prime Week.
It was. Did you buy anything?
yeah.
on Prime?
I missed
you did.
Prime Week.
Or
Oh my gosh.
Prime sale day, or I don't know what they called it. It was just 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the name was. I presume it was just Amazon trying to move inventory before Christmas. That's the only reason you would do something like that. Thanksgiving is about a month and a half away.
I read an article. I don't forget what economic feed it was, but it said they're all doing it because they realize that if a recession comes the way it's predicted, they're going to be stuck with all this inventory.
Yeah.
So they're
for
trying
them,
to clean it out.
Yeah, it makes sense. So interesting to see kind of a odd time of year to have a sale. Again, Black Friday, not that far away typically. But
economic headwinds.
Hopefully not, but it's looking like it.
I'm on the lookout for one of those Roomba vacuum robot things. But they're uber expensive, so I'm on the prowl for one on like a Black Friday deal or something.
No, you need to get the Musk's new robot and let him just do the vacuuming for you.
Yeah.
Optimus,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's outside of my tax bracket.
No, get on the line. Get on the list
that,
for.
Katie.
You could be a test house. You can do a test house for free.
Yeah,
You come home and all inside your house is painted black.
perfect.
Because the robot went nuts and just sprayed everything.
Living in the future.
So, first of all, let's say congratulations, Katie. Katie's in her new digs over there, new house.
Yeah.
What time does
an
it
office?
What time does the party start today?
Oh, maybe in another couple of months when I actually have the stuff put away.
Yes, that's always the story, and it never happens.
I swear
I'm
it'll
really
happen.
pissed if I don't get an invite.
Yeah. Well, I've got an extra bedroom, so at least I'll have room. It'll be full of crap though, so.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be a homeowner?
Good, stressful. Doing the whole mortgage thing was stressful, especially during this crazy time when all the house prices are going all over the place and everything. But it's done. I worked it out. Oh, what I did learn as a homeowner though is I got so much spam mail, like ridiculous amount of spam mail. And they actually got me a couple times because they make it look like a city bill, like the North Carolina government official bill or whatever. And it was like, go on this website and pay this bill, blah, blah, blah. And it looks like a water bill or something and official. And so I called the number and I called the city, not the number on the piece of paper. I called the city And I was like, I have this bill, and I was expecting bills to come in for different things. And she's like, yeah, ignore that. That's them trying to get this, that, and other thing. But if you go on our website, you can get it for free. And I was like, oh, okay. So they're sneaky. Talk about, avoiding the emails, the spam emails that look like official companies. But like these people that are trying to get your money, they make it look like official North Carolina Wake County government, whatever.
But it's interesting to note, it's not necessarily a scam. Well, they're just essentially charging you for a free service.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is kind of a scam, but not like they're not going to steal your identity and rip you off.
No,
this is very popular with, there's a service which everybody here should look at called NCCASH. It's run by the North Carolina Department of the Treasury, and it's unclaimed property funds. So if somebody tries to mail you a check and it got lost in the mail, or maybe you never deposited it, they have to turn this money over to the state. So there's like $1 billion sitting in this thing, which again,
you can
go
do a search too and find out.
You do a search, but there's companies that will contact you and say, hey, you've got this money sitting in this service. We'll claim it for you. It's not a scam. They are claiming it, but it's a free service that the state itself offers. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, as a new homeowner, I was not aware of these things. And so I'm glad. When in doubt, just call the county, I guess.
I mean, that's talking about email. They're getting also very crafty with direct mail.
No, that's it. That's exactly what I got.
Our mortgage was with First Citizens. And a couple of months ago, I got a letter, official looking, from First Citizen Bank and the address and everything, trying to tell me something about changes in the mortgage, that I need to do this and I need to do that. And I said, well, we don't have a mortgage anymore, so that's interesting. So I took it to the bank. I said, you guys need to look into this. So, oh, thank you. But it's perfect. It came from the bank about the mortgage. And it's like somebody knows something that you don't think they know out there.
So much public information that's out there too. You could go and search somebody in the voter rolls, search for property, search for deeds, any kind of contracts that are public information. You can go just glean information about people and just build enough information to scare people.
Yep.
Amnon, Google owes you $15.15.
Wait, now I want to look up this. What did you call it again?
It's called NCCASH.
That I think this is from
Google Fiber or AdSense.
No. This is from years ago. It's something that's. But they say that what was it? Shoot, they would pay you for something, a few pennies every time.
Google Help Out.
But they claim, because back then they said you have that much, but we don't pay anything unless it has at least $100.
Well, there you
That's
go.
what Google
$15 sitting in the. You got $15 waiting for you to be claimed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So lots of interesting scams.
Yeah. There was
my last name. It doesn't appear there at all.
So neither does mine, but no, mine appears there. It depends how long you've been in the state. I think it's after. It's like 24 months or something before they turn the money over. It's a very long time.
Yeah,
I don't have any unclaimed property, so we're good.
Unfortunately, I have a very popular last name, so this is going to take a while.
No, you put in your first name, last name, and then you put in your first name, last name, and the zip code you lived at.
I did put my first name. Oh,
then it would show up right at the top. If it's a full match, it shows up at the top.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway,
So
Yeah.
I saw I watch local news because it's part of what I do for work. And there was the one of the television stations down here is affiliated with Investigate or Investigative TV, something like that. It's a network that does these investigation things and then packages them up for local markets. And they did a one that it was either Thursday or Friday. No, it's Thursday on EVs and the not high rate, but EVs exploding in people's garages.
Yep.
While they're charging. And this is not something new. And it was interesting to watch because there didn't seem to really be a understanding that this stuff people have seen these happen with phones. They've seen it happen with their laptops, with other things. Why would they be under the assumption that an electric vehicle would be any different? It's the same lithium ion technology in a much larger pack. And it was interesting to see both the people that were talking about it that had it happen to them and the individuals that were being interviewed, that they didn't draw the correlation between anything else that's got lithium ion batteries that can explode as well. And they have done it over the last couple of decades. I mean, seen massive lawsuits. Guys, iPhone blew up in his pocket and he sued Apple for a boatload of money and settled. So it was just interesting to see that folks were now all of a sudden so concerned about this, even though it's not really a new thing.
What
There's
causes
been a lot
it
of-
to explode?
Chemical reaction imbalance. I mean, the lithium, from what I understand about a lithium ion battery, it's always at a very unstable state, and there's issues that can cause it to rupture.
So at any time,
That's
like
why
a
it's
ticking
very
time bomb.
important to use. That's why it's very important to use the correct charger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. The
But I was-
charger.
What I was reading, and it wasn't in this story, I started reading afterwards, a lot of what's happening is some of these cheaper chargers that you can get on Amazon, which are like $150 or $200, which is relatively inexpensive. They don't have, they described it as surge protection, but they don't have surge protection in them. So if there's a blip in the power or there's a spike in the power, this device, you would hope, would either dump the load so that it doesn't send too much to the battery, or just do something to protect the car battery. And some of these cheaper units are not doing that. So you get a power surge on the line and it blows up your car battery because it's a cheap charger. Like Al mentioned, it's just kind of, you buying some cheap Chinese crap with no good circuitry in it, and it can cause a huge problem.
Or
the latest issue around
just the
this
tape,
is
or just the cables. Even the cables, the wrong cables, can cause that.
yeah.
You're talking about
You
like the
gotta
wrong
have-
gauge cables?
Like the wrong USB cable. You bought the $2 one instead of the $10 or $15 one, and suddenly that can cause that.
Yeah, because it can invoke the monitoring software. that
yeah,
actually
but
works with-
in this story, that what Nick is talking about, they're talking about cars,
Doesn't matter.
electric
yeah,
EV.
They still not
EVs,
install the
but-
system from the car manufacturer.
Yeah, I mean, you don't go to Amazon to buy parts.
Why not?
For
Yeah, yes, you absolutely
You do?
That's where
Yeah.
that's where you buy the chargers, the 240 chargers that people are installing in their
uh-huh.
driveways and their garages. They're just buying them off Amazon. Everybody's making them.
Oh,
I almost put one in specials a couple weeks ago. It was like $97 for a stage 3 charger. It was dirt cheap.
yeah. I always thought that the manufacturers comes and installs it for you.
I mean, they can if you want to have. I mean,
Right.
if you want to get a nice expensive charger and want to spend $1,000 on it, they can. But you can
Interesting.
do it yourself. Or I mean, technically, you're not supposed to run that voltage yourself, but you could do it yourself for nothing.
Yeah. Well,
The big issue now is in Florida. They're finding the vehicles that were submerged in salt water.
Yeah.
Have created a huge issue for hazmat fire departments and all. They pull these vehicles out of the water. They have to take them to a special location while they try to turn them on. And why they want to turn them on, I don't understand. They should just go right to be recycled. But they have teams of people now that they're discovering what this means, and they show pictures of these cars just lighting themselves off when they open the door and hit the power button. They just go up in flames. They don't even think that the firemen come with what they call a Scott air pack, which is a breathing device that they use, and they don't even think that's suitable for the toxic fumes that come out of the cars when they burn.
Well, I told you guys with the big military truck that I have, it's got two 12-volt batteries, and I don't drive it much at all. So there's a trickle charger on it. And to make a long story short, it always charges. So I went out there and I started every now and then, but it's been about 2 months. So I went to start it, and started wouldn't engage right, and I click, and a small bomb went off. And this is not just a figure of speech. I know what a small bomb sounds like when it goes off. It was unfreaking believable. And I ran to the other side, and the whole top of one battery was completely in pieces all over the ground.
Wow.
And in talking with people that are in batteries and at the interstate and other, we figure, of course, there's no way of telling what did it, but it's obviously the hydrogen that is being created when you charge a battery exploded. And they figure out that there was something wrong inside the battery, where one of the connections between the cells was weak, and it created a spark. And that's what did it. But it's not fun. But on the
Sounds like Apollo 13.
On the same
Raleigh, we have a problem.
That's right.
On the same
now West Carey, we have a problem.
the same subject, there's a story here. It says scammers are leveraging the vulnerabilities in the global supply chain, as well as the public continuing need for new batteries, to sell a wide variety of counterfeits or unauthorized replicas online, warns America's FBI. Do not fall victim to online fraudsters or unauthorized dealers or manufacturers. Counterfeit batteries do not go through the same standardized testing as original equipment manufacturer batteries and can adversely impact the safety and health of the consumer. Avoid aftermarket batteries when possible because they may be dangerous. Consumers should avoid all third-party purchases of batteries, as they can appear to be legitimate OEM batteries, but are likely counterfeit. Batteries sold at deep discounts or at significantly lower than average prices are likely counterfeit. Now, the FBI warns you should always avoid batteries that are not properly packaged. And they're talking about anything from watch batteries to and up. So if it's not properly packaged, if they have misprinted or misspelled labels, if they have labels that peel off or do not have official manufacturer batch numbers. Now, the FBI is warning is not specific to laptops or smartphones, which makes sense, given the batteries are now found in everything from cars, scooters, e-bikes, e-cigarettes, and trains to drones and more. So, and
the source of a lot of these counterfeit batteries may actually be coming from the same plant.
Yeah.
But they're siphoned off the lines that should be rejected.
Right.
And they're taken by and turned into they're really not counterfeit, they're just failed or substandard batteries.
They're not supposed to be on sale, and they are.
Yeah.
And if you go to buy batteries, especially like the little button batteries on eBay or on Amazon, you will see that you can get the same battery that will cost 10 of them for $4 or 10 of them for $9. And the $4 are normally a no name, but they do have all these things. They have batch numbers. They sold a lot of them. They've been selling them for a long time. I buy them. I mean, knock on wood, I never had a problem with any of those small batteries. But there are a lot cheaper ones. And I always I said, something must be wrong here. But I never thought about fake or counterfeit. I always thought about dates, that they probably expired and they don't tell you that they expired. And if I bought something for $2, I'm not going to return it and I have to pay the shipping. So read about it. I mean, and just use common sense.
You mean the ones I bought that was Duracell spelled Duracill? They're no good?
See, that's the thing.
Nobody go to specials. I've got the deep discounts from Battery Superstore plus 69 at hotmail.com. That's the special. So be careful.
Oh yeah. That's
who actually makes decent batteries. And I don't know who makes them. Costco's Kirkland brand batteries. I have had the best luck. I have a couple of Blink cameras that are wireless, and they run on 2 AA batteries. And I've used Energizer and Duracell in them, and they even sell some. I think it was the Energizer. Some marketing BS for that they recommend for devices like the Blink. And I just and then don't get me wrong, they weren't dying immediately, but I've had so much better luck with just these Kirkland brand batteries from Costco. I've got AA's and AAA's, and they just work great. I've had no problems with them. They seem to last just as long as anything else, and they're so
I have a great
inexpensive.
YouTube channel to suggest. A guy who does analysis of all kinds of consumer products, but he does test batteries. And has a very sophisticated way of doing it. Car batteries, small batteries, whatever. It's called Project Farm.
I freaking love Project Farm.
Isn't that
His
amazing?
videos are unbelievable.
He will test. He'll go as deep as testing like batteries from Harbor Freight. He'll have them across the spectrum, 20 different kinds of batteries, puts them through the exact same testing, has great methodology. He's gotten so intense and so sophisticated that he has to time chop his videos now because it's so much detail. But very good. Project Farm, I highly recommend it.
Yes, Project Farm is the man. I mean, I'm an expert on angle grinders, bolt cutters, the oil, lawnmower engines.
He'll test screws. He'll test screws. He'll test glue. It's amazing.
Yeah. I watched one recently. I watched he put a leaf blower out one recently. I was very intrigued with the leaf blower one. Good stuff. Project
CFM's Farm. Important.
By the way, he's very popular. He has like 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. He is making a killing doing these videos.
He started out just kind of ad hoc, basically playing with lawnmowers. And he did a thing where can we use caulk to seal a gasket on an engine? And he'll do it. And he'll do this stuff. He just thinks up the wackiest stuff. But it's very useful. He's great. And I hope he still doesn't take money from any manufacturer.
Nope. Every video is buying all the products.
Yeah.
So if you're ever looking to buy a tool and some sort of anything, check him out specifically. I bought actually I had to buy some concrete screws this past week or 2 weeks ago, and I watched his video on concrete screws and bought the ones that made the most sense for me, which turned out, of course, not to work anywhere near as I anticipated. But,
you're a nerd.
That wasn't his fault.
You're a tool nerd when you'll watch a 40-minute video about clamps.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What are the best stainless steel clamps to use on your hoses?
Good stuff.
He does jeans, and now he does clothes. is $16 or $99 jeans? Which ones are better?
Yeah. Walmart branded one actually worked out pretty well in that video.
His original, one of his original videos was "What was Seafoam do to my engine?" That was when I first
Oh my
watched him 5
God.
years ago.
Well,
What?
that's for all the cars, the electric cars that are just under seawater, right?
Yeah, he should start. You should do another one. What seafoam does to? Yeah, is that what you said, Katie?
Well,
Yeah, what-
Seafoam was a product.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
to take
Oh, I
yeah.
thought literally
Yeah, no,
seafoam.
seawater. Yeah.
So much I know about car stuff.
yeah, what seafoam does to electric battery? To
Yeah, I thought he
EVs.
was going to
Yeah.
the beach and getting
Yeah.
foam and kelp and fish and seeing what
That'd be
happens.
cool, though.
Maybe what seafoam does to seafoam.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
He opens every video with this video was recommended by my commenter. So if you go ahead, Zagal, go to his channel and leave a comment. And I'm sure that's literally how he does his video idea. People be like, hey, I need the best ratchet strap set. And he'll go out and spend $700 on ratchet straps and get a video with 3.5 million views testing ratchet straps. Very, very interesting. I've got an interesting anecdote. A couple months ago, I talked about my buddy Bob, who lives up in the Anger area, which is up in Johnston County, and he lives out in kind of the middle of nowhere. Lives in the town limits of Anger, but is on pretty remote area. And all he had access to was DSL, CenturyLink DSL, bonded. It was like spending like $200 a month on internet.
Yeah.
And it was DSL, so it was very slow. And he got Starlink back probably 6 or 8 months. At this point, maybe a year ago. And for him, it was life-changing. You go from having, a couple of megabits on a good day down and, maybe 2.5, 3 megabits up to Starlink, and it's blown him away. But over I was messaging with him last night, and when he first got Starlink, he was getting nearly 200 megabits a second down. And now he is getting about 30 megabits down, dealing with inconsistency surrounding packet loss. Starlink has already sent him a new router modem combo and a new dish. And they're saying at this point that there's just too much congestion in that area. So, yeah,
how many users do they have in that area?
That's the great question. He said I'm gonna. His message to me was, I'll give it about 6 more months, but I'm probably gonna have to go back to DSL. He goes, he's a video gamer, and the packet loss, you can't play any online games if you're dealing with packet loss. It's just not even possible. So he's gonna, essentially, if Starlink doesn't fix their crap, go back to significantly slower speeds that are more reliable. And he said it's a mixture of not even more satellites in the sky, but more ground stations, because I guess either the satellites are getting saturated, or the uplink is getting saturated from the ground stations to the satellites. So interesting.
Satellites getting saturated. That sounds the most plausible one.
They've got a bunch of them. They have hundreds of them.
Ukraine.
Yeah, but again, there are hundreds, and they're probably spread out, right? Each one has a maximum bandwidth.
True.
And it's reaching capacity. Interesting.
Now, is there a delay when they switch? How long is the delay when they switch satellites?
I don't know. I'm gonna send him a message. I'm gonna try to get him on the show next week.
Because I wonder, with such a saturation, the antenna may only have to move a few degrees to pick up the next satellite. But I don't know.
Surprisingly, when he first got it, and again, the only reason I know him is actually in the Infection podcast, and he lives in Anger. We went on a Valentine's Day date last year. It was great. Went to a comedy show. When he first got it, he was like, well, there's no way this is going to work for gaming because of what you just described, Spence. It's going to jump from one satellite to another, complete internet dropout. And surprisingly, his ping was very reasonable, 30, 35, 40 milliseconds, and did not deal with those problems at all. I guess the overlap of the satellites, you're never actually, I think at certain points you're connected to two at the same time, more of like a redundancy, and then
that would be
one
great.
drops. So
Yeah.
I think that's how it worked. It works, but yeah, he's having some significant problems and is thinking of dumping it and going back to CenturyLink, and it's expensive. So that's $110 a month for Starlink.
Right,
it's just not
paying
good service right
110 and not getting something that you want, I can understand that.
And he said the DSL lines cost him $60 a piece. So go back, spend $10 more, have significantly slower speeds, but more reliability. And it kind of reminded me of my situation with AT&T here. I had gigabit AT&T fiber when I first moved in, and the speeds were phenomenal, but the packet loss was killing me, literally. So now I'm back on Spectrum coax, and I've been on it for over a year now, a year and a half now.
You're paying more, but it's more reliable.
I am paying more, absolutely, but I'm not dealing with packet loss in video games and YouTube video uploads taking 4 hours because it's constantly dropping packets. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yep.
So, speed is not always the best indicator. If it's fast but it's unreliable in terms of packet loss and jitter and all that other stuff, that's a huge problem.
Yep, that's right. Anyway, privacy. Your boss probably has enough data about your digital activities to get a snapshot of your workday without using any special monitoring software. Workers should be aware that many online work apps offer data about their daily activities. Commonly used network connected apps such as Zoom, Slack, and Microsoft Office give managers the ability to find everything from the number of video meetings in which you've actively participated to how much you chatted online with coworkers and the number of documents you saved to the cloud, and probably some other stuff. Of course, it's almost like you have to have somebody dedicated at a company to just go through all that information to figure that out. I would hope that a manager has more productive things to do with their time than
I was about to say this. It's a lot of work.
I was going to say, Amnon, that goes to show you that you haven't worked in a middle-sized business in many years, because that's all managers waste their time doing is doing bullshit like this.
You're kidding me.
No, Spence probably knows it better than
yes.
both of us working at some of the companies he did. Middle management is where America fails. No question about it.
That's scary then.
Layers don't necessarily mean better management, that's for sure.
Egal?
Gal took off for a moment. He's on a call.
I thought that was his head there.
Yep.
I was going to say, turn on your light. So who has an iPhone 14?
Not me.
The iPhone 14's new crash detection feature, which is supposed to alert authorities when it detects you've been in a car accident, has an unexpected side effects, especially when you're in Raleigh and you go to the fair. It dials 911 on roller coasters.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure the police love that.
Oh, yeah.
According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, the feature has had law enforcement sent to amusement parks on numerous occasions after mistaking a thrill ride twists, turns, and hard braking for a real emergency. Well, at least it works.
I have an Apple Watch and it called 911 accidentally because on the Apple Watch there's like a little button, and then it kind of slides, and somehow my wrist hit it, and then and I didn't know that it called until my I was in the car, and for whatever reason I guess it didn't connect to the car, but 911 called me back, and so in the car it popped up on the screen, and it said 911 as the incoming call, and I was like, hello, and they're like, do you have an Apple Watch? And I said, yeah. And they're like, it dialed us, make sure that doesn't happen again. And I'm like, okay, bye.
You can turn it's actually an accelerometer that detects that you've fallen. And so when I go to in the morning, when I go to inspect the bus that I drive, I have to do what they call thumping the tires with a bar. So I found if I used my left hand with my watch on it and I thumped it, it would pop up a notice say, did you fall? Do you want us to call 911?
Oh, maybe that's what happened. And then I hit it on something.
And, if you knock it into something, or if you so you can turn it off. Oh, you probably did, right?
No, I don't think I did. But it hasn't called anybody since. So
okay.
But then when you need it, it won't call.
Yeah, but
now I can't go on it. No, I have been on roller coasters. So granted, my Apple Watch is like super old. It's like 4 years old. So
maybe you can change the sensitivity on it. Yeah, I have a 7. I don't have the latest one, but
yeah. So if you're going to the fair, say what?
I was surprised by my phone, because it tracks activity. It's not an Apple phone; it's a Samsung. And I was on an elliptical, and it suddenly says, "I see you're on an elliptical." Just by the motion. And I said, oh, that's interesting. But it mostly gets things wrong, right? So
I feel called out when I'm wearing my Apple Watch and I like just walk upstairs and they're like, oh, I see you're exercising. And I'm like, no, I'm just going upstairs.
At least yours doesn't say you're having a heart attack when you walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I see that you're dying. Oh, that's phenomenal. Thank you.
Well, if you're going to the fair, turn that feature off or leave the phone with somebody on the ground.
I think I'm going to try to go to the fair next weekend.
Oh my gosh, good luck.
I'll be there tomorrow. I'm actually working in a
that's a good day to go.
Yeah, well, I can't. I live 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Going during the week is not really much of an option. Well, I could go by myself, but I don't particularly want to go by myself.
Well, there's a lot of new people you could meet at the fair.
No, I'm good, Spence. I'm not trying to meet any of the people at the North Carolina State Fair. No offense.
It's not that. I mean, good luck. You're going to have to wait a long time.
Well,
it's going to be a lot of people.
I went last year. I went on a Saturday last year. Yeah, I mean, you had to wait. You buy your tickets online. You go through the little fast entry thing. You're good.
Oh,
yeah, we're going to work. No,
I'm going to eat.
Yeah,
and win another. It was 1 year ago.
The Lions Club. Come to the Lions Club tomorrow morning because Pam and I are volunteering there.
I most definitely will not be there tomorrow morning. It was 1 year ago that I won a fish at the fair that I named Fair, and it died 7 hours after I won it. After I spent $25 on a bunch of bullshit at Walmart for it.
Oh,
it's a sad day. Rest in peace, Fair. I woke up the next morning. The son of a bitch was floating upside down. I was devastated.
They don't make fish like they used to.
Well, yeah. The worst part is that I spent like $30 on this stupid game, throwing the little balls into the ping pong balls into the cup, and it died. It was tragic.
Upnut's fish are fair fish, aren't they?
Yeah,
he's got koi fish.
No, there are only 3 kois. The rest of them are goldfish.
Actually, you got those at the fair?
Actually, well, not from the fair. The first one that I ever got was actually from Katie, your aunt. What's her name?
Aunt Terry.
Yeah. They went to the fair and they got it, and she brought it, and she said, "Can I put it in here? I don't know what to do with it."
Wow,
years ago.
That fish is still alive?
No, I don't know. I mean,
okay.
You see one goldfish, you see another.
Amnon's not a good pet owner. He doesn't even have them named. He doesn't even know if they're alive or not.
Hey, I've seen him, right? Take care of a little turtle, injecting him with medicine every day. He takes good care.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what his goldfish. He doesn't know if his goldfish are alive or
He
dead.
does not name them. He does not get attached.
No, I mean the thing is that and I'll say it with goldfish. If I see one that's about to die, I'll just fish it out, hit it real hard on the cement
Oh my
to
gosh.
knock
Oh
him
no.
out. No, I mean he's suffering, so you want to stop it.
And put him on the grill and turn it into
Yeah.
something. Turn it into a nice meal.
Warning: this show may contain very strong visuals.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Emma, normally you get kicked off of
Ooh.
YouTube for medical misinformation on the Health In show. This time it's going to be for PETA is going to file a claim
I know.
about your mistreatment of animals.
Anyway, Microsoft is making a major change to its Microsoft Office branding. Did you hear
Oh,
about
really? Oh, I think, yeah, I got a pop-up when I logged in this morning. It's called, what is it called? It's going to be called the 365
Yep.
app, and it's got a new logo.
Yep. After more than 30 years, Microsoft Office is being renamed Microsoft 365 to mark the software giant collection of growing productivity apps. While Office apps like Excel, Outlook, Word, and PowerPoint aren't going away, Microsoft will now mostly refer to these apps as part of Microsoft 365 instead of Microsoft Office. So the word Office is what's going away.
And they're changing the logo, too.
Yeah, Microsoft has been pushing this new branding for years after renaming Office 365 subscriptions to Microsoft 365 2 years ago, but the change go far deeper now. In the coming months, Office.com and Office mobile app and the Office app for Windows will become the Microsoft 365 app. And yeah, Nick, there, I don't know why it didn't catch it here, but they're changing the logo. Yeah. Yep.
That's the new logo.
Yep.
So, if your company has Office 365, you log in. I saw it this morning. It says the Office app is becoming the new 365 app. Your home to find, create, and share. Great. Click here to learn more.
Yeah.
The subscription lost the Office name a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now it's the app itself. Yeah, interesting.
The real question is, are they going to move away from office.com as the primary domain for everything? That's going to be the real question.
Well, I mean, office.com is probably going to automatically redirect to whatever it is.
But that's the million. Like that's how everybody logs in. That's how you've been told to log in. That's where your
so that's
bookmarks
why
are
it's
for
probably
everything.
going to remain for another few years.
Well, it
Yeah.
says in the coming months, Office.com, the Office mobile app, and the Office app for Windows will become the Microsoft 365 app. So I'm
Interesting.
sure that they will, like Gal said, it will redirect probably.
It
Makes
is. It's going to be
sense.
called Microsoft. So it's going to be called Microsoft365.com instead of Office.com. That's that. See, I understand the branding aspect, but that's such a longer, so much of a longer domain to type.
Well, looks like M365.com belongs to some Chinese domain squatter. So,
Oh, fantastic.
So they'll need Microsoft 365.com.
How about MS 365?
MS-13.
Right.
MS.
Well, Microsoft.
MS-13, are you trying to log into your
365.com
email, or are you trying to peddle drugs across the border?
Oh. Yeah. All right, Nick, you are ready for specials?
I am, and I'll tell you what.
Right.
It has been a rough couple of months on the specials front. We've had a couple of good products here and there, but overall, I'd say just the quality of the stuff that's been for sale has been just subpar. I don't know what it is. Summer months, just not a lot of deals and sales, but things are really starting to pick up. I saw this on a Facebook group that I'm in, and this is the. If Amnon can pull up the specials, there it is. This is a new cleaning product that is made. I believe it's German, and it is called the 404 cleaner. And it's not like it's the name brand. It's literally got like it's like retro wave with like Windows 95 windows open. It's got some weird gradient text, and it's called the 404 cleaner, and it says it dilutes 99.009% of spyware. So I don't know where this is for sale, but I'm gonna try to buy a bottle of this on eBay because it's super cool. So yeah, that's not on special, but it is
it gets rid of all spyware because you pour it into the computer and it stops working.
Yeah, that is true. 100% delusion of spyware if that was the case. All right, so let's start out with some specials here. This is a refurbished product, but it is the DJI Mini 2 quadcopter ready drone with battery bundle. Comes with 3 batteries, a couple of extra propellers, and some various things, including the DJI controller. This is normally $529 refurbished, and it is even cheaper now, just $389 refurbished, factory refurb. So DJI is the one doing this, and it's a good time to remind folks that when you think refurbished, you assume like, oh, this thing was dug out of the ground and it was destroyed, and then they put some duct tape on and it's refurbished. A lot of the time, refurbished could be open box but missing a couple of parts. It has to go back to the factory. They have to reassemble it into a kit, and it can be determined and verified as refurbished. So, but be aware of it. They've sold 46 of them on eBay in the last 24 hours. So, people are obviously buying them, and it's available from the Drone Superstore on eBay, so you can check that out over there. Next up, almost too good to be true. Here is a Windows. This is a Windows 11, a Windows 10S computer with 1 year of Microsoft 365 personal included. So worth buying just for the subscriptions. And on top of that, you also get a 14.1-inch ultra slimbook Gateway laptop. This is running an Intel Celeron dual-core processor, 4 gigabytes of memory, 64 gigabytes worth of eMMC storage, THX-tuned audio, mini HDMI, and again, a full Windows license and Microsoft Office. Well, I guess it won't be called that anymore. It'll be called Microsoft 365 Personal for just $99.
Dang.
This thing is normally $230. So this is a very significant deal. It has USB Type-C. Say it again?
Buy it, take the license to another Windows machine and install Linux on it, and it'll be a decent machine.
Yeah, I bet you this will be I bet you this will be a nice little laptop. In terms of peripherals, it's got an SD card slot. You can throw up to a 512 gigabyte SD card in there. It's got 1 mini HDMI output and 1 USB-C output, which is for data transfer only. So it's not a full-powered USB-C port. And then a USB 3.0, 2 USB 3.0 ports. There's a 11-inch version of this as well for $69 over at Walmart as well, which is a very similar device. So if you literally need a throwaway computer for a garage, maybe you want to live another life, have a separate alternative universe, buy this.
I actually have a good use case for this. So put it in the kitchen and you have like the perfect cookbook, right? Because you're not too worried that something will happen to it. That, and you tie it up with, there's a fantastic self-hosted service called Grocy, Grocy, which is basically an ERP for your kitchen. And you can have like the perfect combination of recipe hoarding and something that you won't worry that'll be too sticky to work with.
Another couple of use cases I thought, me personally, I have a 3D printer out in the garage that I have to put an SD card in to transfer files. Great computer to use for that. If you've got a Cricut or something like that that needs to be connected to a device and you want to have it in a separate room, this thing is dirt cheap to do that for, and it'll be more than suitable to run all of those various pieces of software. That's over at Walmart. You can get it in gray, blue, green, or purple. Purple's hot. It's a hot color there. So be advised of that over at Walmart. Next up, if you're looking to speed up an older computer, it's pretty hard to beat this price-wise. Here's a 512 gigabyte, so half a terabyte Team Group, which makes good quality SSDs. This is their 3D NAND SATA 3 version of just a half a terabyte SSD, just $28 over at Newegg. So if you've got maybe you've got family members that've got older computers, but you don't want to go through the hassle of buying them a new machine, but it's got a spinning drive, throw this in there, clone what's on the spinning drive onto this, and you can get at least a couple of more years out of a computer with that. Available over at Newegg for 43% off. Pretty significant deal there. All right, our next special brings us over to Woot, which is an Amazon company. It's like, is Woot Amazon's like wholesaler? Because
Woot
Walmart.
Woot was a company of its own.
It was.
Right?
And then
Amazon just bought it, and they continue to function exactly the same way as they were before.
Wasn't Woot part of Walmart?
No, that was some other service.
Never. It's a clearinghouse.
Okay.
It just they get deals and they put them up there and you buy it, and when it's done, it's gone.
Yeah. So I bought some things off Woot, and I've always had a great experience with it. Here is the newest Nintendo Switch OLED edition with the blue and red Joy-Con controllers. This is normally $399. It's not a huge sale. It's on sale for $269. Save a couple bucks on it. If you're in the marketplace for one, you might want to wait until Black Friday if you can wait. But if not,
it won't be any cheaper. It will never be any cheaper just because Nintendo, just like Xbox and PlayStation, they control the pricing. The thing is the new deals that Nick mentions, those that Costco will come out and stuff, they will be bundled with a lot more stuff, right? So,
so you might be able to get it for the same price with like $150 worth of games. Right. But if you're in the marketplace for a Switch and this price looks intriguing to you, check that out over there. All right, the next one needs a little bit of an explanation. If you can scroll up just a little bit, Amnon, for this laptop on the right. So this is available at Target. It's a Lenovo IdeaPad 1i, which is the a lower end model of the computer I just recently bought this past weekend. Running a Core i3 processor, which is it's a 12th gen, an i3 1215U, 8 gigabytes of soldered memory, a 256 gigabyte internal hard drive, and expansion for RAM. This thing is normally $539. And if you have a Target account, which is free, they call it Target Circle, and then click the link in the specials website, you can get this for $270. This is so unbelievably cheap for a laptop of this caliber. And it is available both for in-store and online. The Walmart or the Target here in Wilmington has 2 of them available. So you could literally pick this up today, but you have to use the link in the specials to get the 10% off electronics item. And you can get this thing for $270.
And Nick, we stress it all the time, but it's always important to say, this is an i3 12th gen. Yes. This puts to shame the previous generation i5s. So this is an amazing deal. I agree.
Yeah, really good deal. Again, a little convoluted on getting it, but the link in the specials has got this. There's just 3 steps. Create a Target account, click the 10% off link, and then add it to your cart. I did it this morning, and it allowed me to buy it. Obviously, I don't want it. I just bought one. But that's available over at Target. Speaking of batteries, you're spending all your money buying these knockoff batteries, and you're wondering, where the hell do I put them all? Where you can get a Battery Daddy, which is on sale over at Amazon. This thing holds up to 180 batteries, and it comes with a free battery tester as well. This is just a big double-sided plastic case for you to hold all of your knockoff makeshift batteries. Free battery tester with it. This is normally a $20 product, and you can get it for just $14.99. And Gal, you have something similar to this?
I have something similar, and the other day I sent my son. He comes and he says, "Dad, I need some batteries," and I send him to this case, right? And he goes, he looks at it. I don't know if you can show the image. He looks at it and he smiles, he grins from side to side, and then he goes around and says, "Dad, this is the nerdiest thing I think you've ever bought," and it's cool.
Yeah. So the battery daddy, they sell these at Costco and stuff too. I might pick this thing up. I got batteries all over the damn place. You can check that out over at Amazon, or just search it up.
I have a wall mounted something like that with a tester that has all kind of batteries. And
yeah, if you've got if you've got batteries that are just floating around drawers and stuff, and you can never find anything when you need it, pretty good way to organize it.
Absolutely.
Next up, here's a really good deal on a television. Katie, maybe if you're looking for a TV for a spare bedroom or something, this is a TCL 50-inch 4K UHD HDR smart TV with Roku built in. So it's got the smart TV functionality built right into it for $249. This thing is 50% off over at Amazon. I'm not sure you'll find a better TV deal for this price. Looking at the connectivity on it, it's got 4 HDMI ports. One of them is ARC or eARC, so that you can use it for backpass audio, connecting it to a subwoofer, speaker system, something like that. It's also got a coax input for antenna. It's got AV input, so you can connect component or composite to it. Wow. Headphone jack out, optical audio out, and an Ethernet jack because it's got the smart TV built into it. Pretty hard deal.
So it has analog input?
It does have analog input, yes.
That's impressive.
It is very impressive for the price. It comes with it doesn't have the analog jacks on the back, but it does have a breakout cable that looks like a quarter-inch headphone connector that breaks out the analog video connections so that you can so that you can connect RCA jacks to it as well, which is pretty cool. So if you need to connect an old console or a DVD player, pretty hard price to beat at just $249, available over at Amazon. It's 50% off. Next up, Gal, you ever heard of AdGuard before?
Yeah, I use their self-hosted DNS solution.
So there's that, and we talked about that. We actually said that we were going to go through and set it up live on the show for me. We never got around to it, so we probably should do that at some point. But self-hosted is a lot if you don't have the availability to do all of that. But they offer a subscription service. And Gal, what exactly does this do? What does AdGuard do?
So they have a bunch of products. They have some products that you install on your PC. But if I'm not mistaken, the AdGuard family plan is probably the use of their DNS, which instead of using Google's or Cloudflare's or your ISP's DNS, you use AdGuard's DNS. I am guessing that there is some sort of authentication method of identifying your IP as being part of that, because when your requests from your network go out to their DNS, then you can probably control the responses. And so you can filter out known spyware sites, known ad sites, known pornography sites, for example, if you want to child-proof your network and stuff like that. So I'm guessing that's what they did. I clicked the link. I haven't looked at what they offered yet. It might also include the local installed stuff. I'm not sure.
I don't believe it's the local installed stuff. And it's pretty much everything besides the VPN, which you can get for dirt cheap. But essentially, it's ad blocker, but for a device. So instead of running ad blocker inside of Chrome or Firefox or something like that. You install it on the device itself. You can do it on your iPhone, your Android device or tablet, your Windows computer, your Mac. So you can run this device. And as Gal mentioned, it's essentially DNS that gets rid of ads. This is normally $239 for a lifetime subscription of AdGuard, which will get you up to 9 devices simultaneously. It's on sale over at Stack Social, which is a very reputable site. We've used it a whole bunch in the past for just $19.99. It's 84% off for this. So if you're not interested in running something self-hosted at home and you just want to use an app very similar to what you would do for a VPN, you can get this AdGuard family plan lifetime subscription for just $19.99, a pretty good deal on that. All right, next up, 2 final things and we'll round it out here this morning. Here is a Google Nest doorbell. This is the wired version of it if you're interested in getting into the Nest ecosystem or looking for a smart doorbell. These are normally $299. They're on sale over at Home Depot. They're out of stock online, but you can get them in some stores. So you'll have to check on your individual store for just $99. Limit 5 per order if you can find them. Check that out over at Home Depot. And then finally, always like to throw in a Harbor Freight product here and there. This is their 30-bin wall mount organizer. This is good for parts in the garage, computer components, maybe your 3D printer. Katie does some modeling and some painting for models. You need a little thing to throw some things in and keep them all organized. This 30-bin container is normally $30, and it's on sale for just $25, available over at Harbor Freight. And their huge parking lot sale is on right now as well. So you can check all of that out. The parking lot sale ends today. There's a whole bunch of good stuff over on sale at Harbor Freight. And that is specials for this Sunday, October the 16th.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good
I agree.
stuff.
It's refreshing to see a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah. I guess we're getting into that time of year where
we are. Yeah, we're approaching, as I mentioned, approaching Thanksgiving. So we'll start seeing a lot of stuff come up on sale. But I guess it's just the middle of summer is just a hard time for suppliers to justify sales. So yeah, expect some good specials over the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
All right. Here's an interesting story. More than 5 billion of the estimated 16 billion mobile phones possessed worldwide will likely be discarded or stashed away in 2022. They're calling for more recycling of the often hazardous materials they contain.
Wait, you're trying to say that people stash away their old iPhones when they don't need them anymore? That would just be ludicrous. Why would anybody have old iPhones? I mean, why would you?
I always do. I have a box somewhere out in the garage with old phones. I just don't give them away because I don't.
Them?
Huh?
Can I have them?
Yeah. Why?
You can use them for a lot of things.
Wi-Fi.
No. First of all, they are pretty good IP cameras.
Amnon's phones are probably not.
They're really old.
These are these smartphones, Amnon?
Doesn't matter.
Some of them.
Use them as a motion detector instead of video, but they are still IP cameras, right?
Yeah, because they have an IP. Yeah.
Yeah. There's apps that you can install on them that you can use them. I use one old phone for relaying SMSs. I have a SIM card from Israel. It receives SMSs from Israeli services, right? And this way I can authenticate with Israeli services. Because otherwise I'm stuck. The most of authentication today is done via some sort of phone SMS, right? And I need a real Israeli number. It's hooked up to the charger. Mm-hmm. It's on all the time, and it sends me the SMSs via email. So, so stuff like that.
All right.
And
Yeah.
this phone specifically, I can use for video casting. And if I get an old phone that does the SMS relay, then I can make use of this phone.
I would probably say that the box in the garage or in the Connex box is probably all not smartphones. They don't have a camera. Well, they may have a camera, but they don't have.
I don't need the camera right now. Right now, I just need an old Android phone.
Yeah, these are like the old flip phones and things like that. But I do have some here that are some of the like the old. Nick, did you say you wanted those phones that have a keyboard?
No, that was Katie.
Oh, yeah, the Motorola.
Katie was freaking out about the keyboard phone a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, no, because I like the phones that had the slidey thing.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't spend $3,000 on one, Katie. So
Oh,
you
of
didn't
course
like it that
not.
much.
Nah.
Come on, BlackBerry still made an Android phone with a keyboard not too long ago.
Somebody's making a new one now, but it's expensive. It's like $1,500 or $1,700.
No, I'm talking about something along the lines of between $400 to $700.
Oh,
so yeah.
Well, anyway, okay, yeah. So you can have.
Awesome.
But anyway,
I've got a question of this thing. What are you supposed to do with old batteries? I've got some old nickel cadmium.
You're
packs
supposed
from
to take them to the recycling dump. You're
take them to the dump?
Not to the dump, to
Oh.
the recycling dump.
Hazardous waste.
The hazardous
There's one in Holly
waste
Springs.
management. Yeah.
The hazardous waste center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay for it?
No.
No.
If you're in
No,
the
no.
county, you
Okay.
don't have to.
That's where you have to take paint, batteries, things
And
that are going to pollute.
They do
Oh, you know
accept
what? There's
lot
a
of
thing
stuff.
here called the Hazmobile. And
Okay.
I wonder if they take stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah,
The
here
story-
it is. Household hazardous waste and electronic, the Hazmobile. The Haz wagon is what they call it.
we have a whole dump site.
Well, they have a whole dump too, but it looks like this thing
Yeah.
goes around. It's in
Yeah.
it goes to a couple different parks throughout the week. So you can just
Well,
Nice.
you
Drop your
always have Amnon's backyard.
Yep.
Damn it, I
And
should have brought it all last
He
week.
always
I-
knows the guy who knows the guy who takes care of it.
I put it right on by the street. I mean, not by the street, but at the end of the driveway. Any kind of electronics, and there's this old guy that comes by about once a week, and he takes it. And some years ago we talked, and he said that's how he pays his rent, and he goes and collects that, and then he takes it to the hazardous waste site, and they pay him for it.
He brings it in bulk, so he gets
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So anyway, those phones stacked flat on top of each other, that many disused phones would rise 50,000 kilometers, 30,000 miles, more than 100 times higher than the International Space Station. I mean, somebody
Can we build an international space station from those unused
phones.
You just have to stack them up and stack them slightly offset. You have a stairway to walk up into
Exactly.
orbit.
100 steps, I can do that.
The sad thing, it said, despite containing valuable gold, copper, silver, palladium, and other recyclable components, almost all these unwanted devices will be hoarded, dumped, or incinerated, causing significant health and environmental harm. That's why I don't throw them away. Well, that's not the main reason I don't throw it away, because I don't trust that when you reset them or whatever, that all the information is gone. I just refuse to believe that. There's got to be something in there that still has some information. So, it doesn't take much room. Put it in the garage.
Yeah, but there's a big problem with what you just described, and
Okay.
and it goes back to our EV conversation before with the batteries.
Yeah.
It is not cost effective for anybody to truly recycle these devices. And that's exactly what the big problem is now with electric vehicles and the batteries the rare earth materials are not worth recycled. There's no process to do it.
Oh, there is.
There's not.
Hold on. There's some stuff here to unpack. You are talking about financial cost.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Financial cost isn't the only cost here. Right? Health can cost. So we are talking about a health factors here, right? It's a hazard. So yeah, it might cost a bit, but there needs to be some sort of recognition that it might cost more than it's worth financially, but it's still important to do.
Not going to happen.
I'm talking. No,
it's not going to happen. Nobody is going to operate it at a loss.
Let me tell you, there are processing centers around the country where people dumped a lot of money into building them. And these are the people, the big ones that can process a lot of them, can make money from it. And that's why the dump here, the waste management where you take it to recycled, pays people money for electronics.
But it is a delicate balance, because there are like recycling plastics now. The county doesn't make any money on it.
Well, you see,
but it's done for a reason. And I agree with the reason, but they actually pay to have the stuff processed.
Yeah.
So
to
say that they'll make money, it's like it's a fine line.
Well, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that they need to be. I'm not saying that a private entity needs to be profiting millions of dollars on it, but for somebody to come forward and invest the money into the infrastructure to do this, it's just not going to happen. Government can do it, sure, because it doesn't matter for them, but private entity. No. We watched the episode.
That's either
the reason I know about the battery
or
thing,
donation.
What's that?
Come on. I mean, that's actually called either taxes or donation. There are expenses that do not bring immediate
absolutely.
financial profit, right?
For sure.
So those things, they need to either be operated by taxes or donations.
Correct.
That's fine.
But they're not as of right now.
I think one huge contributing factor to it, and I've read a lot about this, is if they would just come up with a standardized battery. Just say, here's the person said, the reality is charging these cars, there's not going to be an interesting, we're talking about cars, right?
No, we're talking about
the reason I bring this up is because when I was at Amnon's last weekend, Amnon, what was that show we were watching with Cheryl Atkinson?
Full measure.
Full measure. And they were talking about electric batteries, and he mentioned that whatever the rare earth mineral is that they mine for these batteries, they do not have a way as of right now that nobody is actively recycling that material to turn it into other batteries. So the only way to build new EV batteries are to mine the minerals again. That was the point.
Okay, but this story here, and what I'm talking about has nothing to do with batteries. It's electronics. It's boards with components on it, capacitors and ICs and resistors.
But it's the raw material that they're after. They're after the gold and the
copper. So they actually melt everything and have machines that will separate them. And if you take one motherboard and you melt it, I mean, you're not going to get anything out of it. But if you take 1,000 motherboards and you melt it, now you have substantial amount of material that you can sell at a profit. And that's the point here. Now, I don't know what, now you, Nick, you were talking about, Gal, you were talking about the health hazard and why we need to do it. I never read anything about what does it do to the environment when you melt these things and you process them, and what happened with the waste and how I never saw any story about that. It may be worse for the environment to have somebody do this than to take the motherboard and throw it in the dump, which will take thousands and thousands of years before it breaks down. I don't know.
If it
The
ever
thing is
does.
that there is information about the hazard that they cause in the dump.
Yes, but I mean,
so it's never a good solution for the dump.
No,
you
it's
might
never.
be right.
I know.
I don't know the details.
Right.
So,
I don't know. I mean,
Right.
my point here is when you hear the word recycling, you are not. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not like that, but not necessarily saving the planet, because the byproduct and what you are emitting while doing this could be really bad for the environment. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it could be. And so it may make you feel good to say, oh yeah, I put it somewhere to be recycled,
Well,
so I don't add to pollution. But
people's
you may,
understanding of the recycling process ends when they drop it in the bin. So that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's true. And there were some recycling processes that are no longer followed because they were harmful and things. And it's another complete market that is always evolving, right?
industry. It's an industry.
Yeah, an industry. Sorry, yeah. But with every industry, there are bad actors and good actors,
Right.
right? I'm talking right now when we are, especially us as consumers, right? When we're talking about recycling, from our standpoint, and as Spence said, it ends when we put it in the bin. I think our main responsibility here is to understand the reasons behind this entire industry, and then, like any other thing that we talk about here, right, is we should, invest a bit of time and knowledge to know where we're throwing things, whether it's the dumpster or the recycling bin. But yeah.
Well, I just want there to be a public responsibility and people who govern this stuff to actually have a plan that thinks about the future and not just implementing things willy-nilly because they feel good. So
Yeah, but usually, policymakers.
Oh, I know.
It's
I know.
just,
Mike, I've read
there's
a lot.
this factory the CEO that they know, right? And they have a great idea on how to advance their political their political clout. So yeah.
I think that while I think switching to electric cars in some cases makes a lot of sense, the problem is the infrastructure is not there, and
And not yet. Yeah.
no, not even close. Look at California; they're already going through brownouts now and blackouts. They haven't even implemented their ban on the sale of any cars unless you're electric. So it's not thought out well. And even Germany now, you look, they're going to keep their coal power plants going longer than they expected because they realize we don't have enough energy to do all this with electric. So unless we keep those plants going, so it's the thing that we're being sold now needs to be. I'm not against change. I am against stupid change.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I still think, and I've watched a great video guy explained about how petroleum products, the mantra is, oh, we need to get rid of fossil fuels. Well, you don't realize how many products are made from it, that you can't do that. Not even energy based. You're talking about clothing and plastics and all this other stuff, semiconductors. All this stuff is a product of petroleum based products. We can't just turn off the tap and say we can't use it anymore because you can't do it. So if you had a well thought out plan, okay, we have a Manhattan project to develop fourth generation nuclear power. Great. If we did that, if we put effort into that instead of chasing intermittent power sources, then we could migrate over time, and there's no reason why we can't. But we shouldn't just toss stuff overboard because some people don't like the idea.
Oh, I agree.
We need to move ahead. And aside from what people think about global warming, creating clean energy sources is a good idea. But we've made so much progress, and that's what we have to pat ourselves on the back. The United States has one of the best air qualities on the planet compared to other countries. From the time they invoked the Good Air Acts to now, you can't make a car cleaner. Almost nothing left to be done in a car to make it cleaner than it is now. So we've done so much, but we have to make sure that we don't break people's backs doing it. Sorry about getting on the soapbox.
All right.
So as I mentioned, this week was Amazon. Amazon did their little Prime sale thing in the middle of the week, and I got a really good deal on a new laptop. This is the Lenovo IdeaPad 3i.
This is the i5 machine?
This is the i5 machine, yeah. So spec-wise, this is a pretty good computer for the price. Even not on sale, it's not a bad deal. It's got a 12th generation i5 1235U processor, which if you look that up on Intel's website, this is a 10-core processor. It's got 2 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. Now, you might be a little concerned when you look at it and you read that the base clock of the CPU is like 1.3 gigahertz. And you're going to think, oh my God, this thing is so unbelievably slow and useless. But it boost clocks up to 4.4 gigahertz. So from a power and Gal mentioned that these things are so much better than the last generation. From a power consumption standpoint, it's perfect because when you're not doing anything, it's okay if it runs at 1.5 gigahertz or 2.5 gigahertz. There's no reason for it to be burning power just sitting there not doing anything. It's also got a 256 gigabyte SSD and then 8 gigabytes of RAM that's soldered. Now, Gal, let me ask you this. I haven't opened it yet. Can I just buy any 8 gig SODIMM stick and put it in here, or are there specific? I want to match the frequency of the current RAM, correct?
With any memory, right? Any memory we're talking about, any memory upgrade, always go to the manufacturer website, the specific model, and look at the approved list.
Right.
Okay.
And use that as a reference, right? Can you deviate out of this? Usually, yes, right? But don't blame anyone if you did, right? It's like
and the
list is usually wrong. Is usually long, right? And it's not limiting. So
and there's a byproduct. There's a byproduct of doing that because you look at older Macs. I have an old MacBook, the original aluminum MacBook, and it said no, you're limited to 4 gig. You can't go any higher than that. And a company came out and said, no, we figured out a way to do it. And they went to Apple and said, we can make it 8 if you change the firmware. And they did. And all of a sudden now we have an upgrade to 8 that wasn't possible. Because
I've got a really stupid question. Where do I to just find this on Lenovo's website and there'll be an approved list? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You probably will see what is the current the installed RAM.
And well, it's not installed; it's soldered. So
soldered. That's what I mean. Installed. What kind of RAM is there, and then you can. Actually, you can probably just search adding memory to this particular.
The manufacturer's website and Intel are good with it, as far as I remember. Asus are good with it. Gigabyte are good with it. They always list a long list of approved, tested chipsets. So
maybe I'm not sure that Lenovo does. I'm trying to find it. Can't even find a product page for this laptop on Lenovo's website. So
it's a bootleg product, Nick. They didn't tell you.
Yeah, you know,
how was Lenovo spelled?
Amnon was warning us about this. So
how was Lenovo spelled?
Lenvvooe.
That's it.
Is that correct? So yeah, I got this on Prime Day. Nice little laptop. It's got a couple of cool features. Fingerprint reader with the home button, which is nice. So you don't have to type in a password. But one thing, and Gal was mentioned this, it's got a USB-C port, and I want to ask you about this, Gal. It's got a USB-C port, but they don't use it for charging or anything like that.
Yeah.
Why? What's the
So-
what's the benefit of using a standard barrel charger still?
Costs. So the charging by USB-C on a computer, right, means that you usually means you put in I think it's called Thunderbird or Thunderlight or something like that. So hold on.
That's isn't that the
computer-
Intel? Isn't that the Intel standard that was developed?
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt. Yeah.
Thunderbolt. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thunderbolt is a chipset that, there's royalties to implement. And so just installing what you already have designed, instead of going with a standard that is, it needs to live up to certain specifications, right? Slapping on a USB-C that only does power delivery, for example, would be a lot cheaper. So that's the thing. There's another thing that you're missing by that USB-C not charging the computer. That means that USB-C is not, because it's not Thunderbolt, you cannot hook up a docking station, a USB-C based docking station there either, right? You'll need something with drivers on the OS and stuff, not something that has a standard. So that's why. Cost.
Gotcha. Cost.
In other
Nick,
words, you get what you pay for.
And I'm pretty happy with what I paid
Yeah,
for. So let
absolutely.
you know.
He
Let you
get
know how it
much
goes.
more than what he paid for, because the machine is great, right?
I mean,
There's some things that are not as modern as they should, but it's not like that makes it a deal breaker. It's a fantastic machine. So.
When you spend $400 on a computer that's worth $6 or $7,
Yeah,
it's-
absolutely.
Exactly.
So yeah, nice little device, a lot speedier than my old Lenovo that I mentioned buying on this show. Probably it was over 2 years ago. It was just a cheap Walmart special for like $119. It suited me well, but 4 gigabytes of RAM not expandable is a huge bottleneck. I mean, I couldn't even run Chrome on that computer because it would just destroy the RAM. I had to use a lightweight version of Firefox. So
I did, Nick. I did order the machine from Target.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
I'm gonna use it because it was either upgrade my desktop or do that. So I'm gonna do that and use it.
I'm
as my
gonna
work
I'm
machine.
gonna order
Excellent.
one.
I went to the
For-
Lenovo page and I tried to build this machine, and it's the $539.99. That's what it costs on the Lenovo site to buy it.
Is that $69 one?
No, that's the
No,
gateway.
this is the
The
270
Oh, no.
i3 from today.
What was the $99 one?
the gateway.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to
gateway
get
one.
one of those for Hannah because of one thing that you said. She does have a Cricut machine, and that may help her because the machine is out in the workshop.
Let me. I got another separate issue. So I've been one of my attorney friends in town. I'm working on her website, and I was over at her office last week or the week prior, and very good friends, and she was saying something about this software that she's running at the law firm. And it's this really, really old software. And it, in fact, is really, really old software. It won't run on anything past Windows XP. There is no upgrade path for it. The software was just made by these guys back in it'll run on Windows 7. That's what it's running on right now. But it won't run on Windows 10, which I tried. So I set up the computer to do remote desktop internally so that multiple people can access it and they can dump, the other computers that it's running this software. But what is the end all be all solution to old software that doesn't have an upgrade path? Is it virtual machines?
Yeah.
Is it keeping one computer that just runs the software and having a backup of it when it dies? What is the solution?
No, VM it. VM it.
VM it. That's what I
Let me
was
tell
thinking
you-
was VMing it.
Let me tell you what I did. I have the software that I do the billing for the ISP.
Mhm.
This software was written in the late 90s. And it's FileMaker. Something like that. It's database. I think it's called FileMaker. The underlying.
Yeah, I think FileMaker was Borland, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's running now on Windows 10. Only because in there you can get in and you can tell it to run this as Windows XP.
Compatibility.
Yeah, the
Compatibility.
compatibility mode.
Yeah, that works with some software, not with this software.
Okay.
We already tried that.
Okay.
The problem is I wanted to install it here so I can actually try to play around with it, maybe tweak some files. But
Yeah.
it's the only copy she has is on a CD. So I have to figure out I guess I'll have to burn it to an ISO and then
I
Well,
think I
you
have
can-
a portable DVD.
I've got a
drive if
portable
you
one,
need.
but I didn't have it with me.
Okay.
So they're probably, but it's a tough situation. And I said, well,
It
I
is.
said, you have a successful practice here. What about buying new software? She said, it's not that I don't want to
Thousands of
buy new
dollars.
software and I
It's
don't
to
have the
learn.
money. It's that all this new software it does all this other BS and we don't want it to. We use it just for real estate closings. That's all that it does. And all these other softwares do all these other things, and we don't need any of that. We just need this one specific task.
And does she need it to be on the internet?
It does need to be on the internet because they have to, well, it doesn't have to be on the internet per se, but they need to get the files off of that computer. Yes, I could set up a map drive to do it, but
Because if it doesn't need to be on the internet, then keep using XP. It's not dangerous.
well, it's using Windows 7, and that's fine. But the thing is having a separate computer just to do that task. And I think Gal's idea of virtualizing and then having everybody RDP to it is probably the best solution.
There's one more thing to do is go on self-hosted subreddit and describe the software and what it does and ask if anybody knows of a solution. It doesn't necessarily need to be free that does a similar thing and
Mhm.
isn't too complex or something like that. Sometimes you'll be surprised at the answers.
yeah.
Yeah, tough situation when it's and it's not a situation again where she's afraid of change and doesn't want to get anything new. It's just this software literally does the task perfectly, and there's nothing that's an equivalent that isn't a whole bunch of other things as well that they already have software that they use. So very tough.
I wonder
Very
if they
tough
have
situation.
other software suites, like maybe there's an add-on to those software suites that they have just not explored.
Well, they do, but the thing is, then they have to upgrade all of their software to a new whatever to just get this one thing for real estate closings, and they don't want to change their whole, because they've got thousands invested in other software. It's just a mess.
It is.
And they are used to
uniquely
this.
Tailored software is
Yeah, but the
always
use of it's not the problem. That's not the problem here. It's this is a business. She operates it as a business. If the software, if they need to use software, they'll learn how to use it. It's just there's not a one-to-one replacement that is modern.
You started saying, Gal?
No, what
Oh.
Nick says is
Oh.
covers everything.
What
All
about so would you just run it on VirtualBox on another computer? Guys, that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, obviously I could get a VM host, but that seems like a lot of work for.
So what you should do is actually start with VMware. The reason you start with VMware is because they have a tool that you install on that machine and it creates a virtual machine copy of that.
Oh, like an
So
image is the
that-
machine.
Right. And then you take that image, you convert it with another VMware tool. These are all free. And then you can convert it to an image media that VirtualBox can run, and then you run it on VirtualBox.
Gotcha.
So that would be the path I would recommend.
Okay.
Is it going to be easy? It's going to be painful. It's a nuisance because the installation is a pain. VMware software is really massive all the time, but that is a pretty good route to do it.
What
There
about
might be a Hyper-V route, like directly to Hyper-V, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I haven't.
what about the issues with you said this is XP?
No, it's running
No,
Windows 7. It's not supposed
Windows
to be
7,
able to
but-
run on anything besides Windows XP.
But
it
even
does
so,
run on it.
didn't updates end for Windows 7? What is the internet requirement for this?
It does need to be connected to the internet because they have to email they have to get the files out of this software for the purposes of closing real estate transactions.
So if
there
you
is
can
a way
figure-
around that.
If you can figure out a way to have their files stored not on the machine but with a network drive,
That's
just
the
have the
problem.
machine reboot every time clean, starting from scratch.
So I tried that. The software will not run if the database file is not on the C drive. So I tried putting it on a file share so that I could essentially not give that computer internet access. The software will not run if the database is not in C.
There might be a flag you could change somewhere that will allow.
Yeah,
it
and that's
to do
why I
that.
need to get a copy of it so that I can actually screw around with it here and not
There
destroy
was
their
I took
system.
care of a Meals on Wheels network one time years ago, and they had I wanted to upgrade it to a network file instead of everybody having a copy of the database. And I called the manufacturer, which turned out to be a prison. A bunch of guys in prison wrote the software, but they were great. So yeah, just change this flag, change this bit here, and then you can do network word. Oh, great! So it worked, but I had to find the source of the code.
So we have.
How did you call? Wait, so you called the
manufacturing
prison?
software?
Yeah, that was the support line. I called. I said, "Is this support for so and so?" The guy goes, "Yeah, I need help with this." He says, "Oh, I can help you with that." And I said, "So where are you guys?" He goes, "Oh, we're in Arizona. We're in prison."
That's awesome. So the
So-
support. No, that's actually fantastic.
Yeah, no,
I
they
mean,
were great.
as
They really were
I can
good.
tell you from a call center, right, perspective, it's pretty much. I think prison has better conditions. So
And you call them and it's like, oh, do you wish to connect with the Arizona prison system? You're like,
Yeah,
yes.
no, it was actually it was a great experience, and I got a direct line to this one guy for questions. He was great. I didn't ask him what he
Yeah,
did.
it's not like he had anywhere else to go or anything else to do.
Yeah,
All right.
interesting.
Nick, you have a Quest, right?
Yeah, an Oculus Quest, yes, sir.
Gal, you have a Quest.
Yep.
And Katie, you have one too.
Of course.
Well,
Are they going to explode?
Meta revealed the Meta Quest Pro, the company's most premium virtual reality headset to date, with a new processor and screen, dramatically redesigned body and controllers, and inward-facing cameras for eye and face tracking. To celebrate the $1,500 headset, Meta made some fun new additions to its privacy policy, including one titled Eye Tracking Privacy Notice. This is coming from Gizmodo. It said the company says it will use eye tracking data to help Meta personalize your experiences and improve Meta Quest. The policy doesn't literally say the company will use the data for marketing, but personalizing your experience is typical privacy policy speaks for targeted ads. So they are going to track your eyes and see where you're looking to target your ads.
And if you'll close your eyes while the ad is playing, it'll
Stop.
play a very annoying noise for you to open your eyes.
I don't think that's what it's going to be used for, or maybe it is going to be used for, but I know that they track your eyes for the projection so that you don't get motion sick. Like, there was a tech conference a few months ago, maybe it was SIGGRAPH, I don't know, I can't remember. but they came out with this screen and it makes a 3D screen, and it has a camera and it tracks your eye. So no matter where you're looking at the screen, the object on the screen looks 3D because it's projecting it from where your eye's looking. So I think it's that same concept. I don't necessarily think it's geared towards ads and all that stuff, but if you get
Katie,
motion
you got
sick,
it wrong.
I don't know.
No, you got it right about the research and how this is born and
Yeah.
how this is being introduced.
But
whoever finances it doesn't care a bit.
I mean, Katie, it's funny you're talking about motion sickness because there was another story about the HoloLens that the military now is testing. And one soldier got violently sick, motion sickness, that they had to take him out of the testing center. I mean, anybody can have motion sickness and they don't even know it until something triggers it. And this is probably a big trigger.
Come on, take them for a day in Universal. If they pass,
Yeah.
right, then
Yeah.
they're okay, and they can go to they can continue training.
Yeah,
It's not that complex.
I get motion sick when I use VR, but I choose games with that in mind when I play. So the way you get motion sick is that you're wearing the headset and the stuff's moving around in the headset, like you as the character are moving, but you're not physically moving as a person, right? So that it messes with people's brains. So whenever I pick a game in VR, I make sure the character's like stationary and the stuff comes to me. Then I don't get motion sick. But as soon as my character starts moving around, I'm like,
Yeah. No driving stuff, no shooters, no, because they have too much movement. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, now Signal. Signal says, in the interest of privacy, security, and clarity, we're beginning to phase out SMS support from our Android app. You'll have several months to export your messages and either find a new app for SMS or tell your friends to download Signal, which I don't understand
that's
here.
Not what I read into it. No, that I don't care about that. That doesn't really matter. Come on.
What doesn't matter?
I thought they meant that they're phasing out the SMS authentication. I want that out. I want my account to not be connected to a phone number. I want the account to be completely separate. And I don't get why this particular company is just adamant about doing it through a phone number.
The thing here, which I don't understand, it says we're beginning to phase out SMS. SMS support. Wait.
The app can control your SMSs.
Hold it though. So they are going to phase it out.
Yeah.
You'll have several months to export your messages and either find a new app for SMS, which makes sense if you want to keep using it, or tell your friends to download Signal. But Signal is phasing it out. Why would they download?
No. Only SMS. So you can use Signal. Signal is used for signal communication,
right?
Communication with other Signal users. But that same app can also deal with your SMS messages of the phone. It can be the SMS app.
Oh, okay.
So you have SMS messages and Signal messages intertwined. I am guessing they're phasing it out for two reasons. One, people, laymen that are using it because of people like us that are bringing them into it, right? They get confused about the mixture of SMSs and signals, and they send out regular SMSs without even noticing, and they think they're sending a signal message. That's one. Two, there's probably always technical issues that, with upgrades of the OS and stuff, they need to stay on top of that. And I'm guessing they're tired of that. They are a privacy communication company. Having SMS seemed like a good idea at the beginning. It probably isn't anymore. And so they're phasing it out.
Okay.
Again,
that makes
not a big deal from my point of view, right? And I don't think it's just probably a big hassle for them. So they're phasing it out. I really want them to kick out SMS authentication. That's what I really want them to kick out.
Well,
I don't want it associated with my phone number. I mean, if an iMessage, if iMessage communication can be not associated with a phone number, why can't Signal, right? What's the problem?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's a matter of developing it.
They need to figure out
Yeah.
a good way of authenticating, but come on, it doesn't need to be a phone number.
All right. People that work from home. That's interesting. A Florida headquartered company has been ordered to pay about $73,000 in compensation and other fees after firing a Netherlands-based remote worker who refused to keep their webcam on all day.
Oh my gosh.
The company, Shetu, said,
Excuse me?
God bless you.
Shetu
Wow.
Chateau, maybe.
said the unnamed employee was required to attend the virtual classroom with their webcam turned on for the entire day.
Now,
Wait.
hold on.
Yeah.
What is this? Virtual classroom?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And their
employee-
screen remotely monitored. But when the employee refused, saying that leaving their webcam on for 9 hours a day made them feel uncomfortable and was an invasion of their privacy, the company dismissed them, citing refusal to work and insubordination. So, yeah, if it's just for class, you're supposed to be there to show that you are actually attending. I can understand.
Yeah, but
that.
that's what makes it interesting is what
Yeah.
are they saying about virtual classroom for an employee? Was this some sort of like teaching center or something? If that's the case, then
No. This was probably something temporary that they had to do. It's obviously didn't start. It's not always. It's
because I had to take a couple of
he was required to attend a virtual classroom with their webcam turned on. So it's just like maybe
deal with it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I had to take I had to get a couple of IT certifications while I was working at my last job, and those were all done remotely. And I had to have a webcam facing me while I was taking the test, and they would view my screen.
Yep.
And
so
now, it wasn't
it's not
9 hours.
unusual.
I'll give you that, but it was for the duration of the exam, which was like 45 minutes.
Well, but this is somebody who was in the Netherlands.
Well, the
really,
company is Florida based, but he was employed in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And the Dutch court is the one ruled.
The EU.
So, right. So there's a couple of ways of looking at this, right? Because I mean, doesn't matter how you read the article. The article is meant to sensationate.
Sure.
Right. I don't know what the court proceedings were, and so either the Florida-based company didn't send a good lawyer, right? That's number one, right? Because they didn't want to pay dues in a foreign language if they're based in the U.S. in a foreign country if they're based in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Two, that company, just by asking for a camera to be 9 hours active, made an error in judgment in the first place because European privacy laws are way more advanced. I wouldn't say advanced, but way more complex than those in the States. And third, right, they were looking for a way to fire him, and this was the excuse.
Yeah, maybe.
And it backfired on them, right? It's law. Nobody is firing anybody because he switched off a camera, unless there's other issues with that employee, right? So that's why I'm saying it's sensationalized. But again, there's something out of context. Why did he need the camera to be 9 hours? How long did he switch off the camera, right? Like, did he for the entire day or for half a day switch it off, or just switch it off while he went to the bathroom? Come on, right? Like, let's be specific. Nothing in the article even mentioned that.
Right.
And Yeah, interesting doesn't seem earth-shattering. More like, look at those weirdos and how they get away with it, right? Something like that. And there's no detail. So
Yeah.
Would be good to know what the expectation was for
Exactly.
taking the class.
The expectation was that he'll leave his cam on for 9 hours.
No, but I mean, if it was a condition of employment, did he have a chance to feedback? Was he able to bring
I
up,
don't know.
hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. What can you do for me? And I said, tough crap. You
well,
have to
that's
do it.
all just we
Yeah.
are assuming this and assuming that, and we don't know. And I don't think it's important enough to know. It was just interesting that some court outside is telling company here to pay it. I mean, it's probably going to keep.
There is a quote from the court, and that's interesting. The employer has not made it clear enough about the reasons for the dismissal, the court said. Moreover, there has been no evidence of a refusal to work, nor has there been any reasonable instruction, right? It sounds like
Okay. So
it sounds like a bad move by a bad manager,
Yep.
right? And the article is about remote workers, while it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
So.
and it's probably not a done deal. It's probably going to be appealed and all that, and at the end they're going to figure out, no, it's something
maybe
here.
not. I don't know.
Maybe the guy, the manager, will find himself fired. Anyway, we were talking about GPUs and RAM and all that. So NVIDIA is pausing the launch of its upcoming 12 gigabyte RTX 4080 after originally unveiling the 12 gigabyte RTX 4080 last month alongside a much more powerful 16 gigabyte model. NVIDIA now admits it's messed up with the naming.
Oh, man.
Both of them were called RTX 4080. So it's the 1280 12 gig is a fantastic graphic card, but it's not named right. That's what NVIDIA is saying. Having two GPUs with a 4080 designation is confusing. NVIDIA is now pausing the launch of the 12 gigabyte RTX 4080 model, but will still go ahead with the launch of the 16 gigabyte version on November 16th. Criticism.
EVGA for the win.
Well, that's exactly that. EVGA said that working with NVIDIA was impossible. Here you go. You allowed
Currently, NVIDIA can't work with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
It says criticism has been building over NVIDIA's decision to label the 12 gigabyte model as an RTX 4080, particularly when the 16 gigabyte model was so different.
Jesus Christ. I mean, these cards, the launch of this series for NVIDIA has been a freaking disaster. These cards are not worth what NVIDIA wants for them. Oh. Alan says, "Thank you for the AdGuard special." Alan, let us know next week how it goes and if you like the service and everything. I'm curious. Oh God, we need to do that. We need to find a week to do the AdGuard setup here on my home network on the show and walk people through it.
Sure, maybe we should do it actually in advance and tape
record
it, like record it.
Yeah, we could do that too and send him on the file.
I think
Nick,
that will work better.
Quick question for you, if you heard anything about this, or maybe Gal. I should have captured the most source of the story, but how there's apparently some environmental objections being raised now to Bitcoin mining.
Oh yeah, I think we covered it last week.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw yet another story about somebody was just doing an analysis of it. I can't remember where I saw it. But what's this?
Well, Ethereum is the big one now because of the whatever something happened recently with Ethereum where it's really no longer makes sense to mine that
substantially. No, Ethereum actually reduced the proof of work algorithms in such a way that it reduced power consumption dramatically for each transaction. So the problem is the amount of there's two problems. One is the amount of power consumption required for mining, the amount of CPU being used for mining, and the heat that is generated, the power consumption that is generated. There's that aspect, and as long as it's going to stay this way, this mentality of or this psychology around mining, if it's going to remain that way, then it's not sustainable. That's number one. Number two is transactions themselves are very, very CPU power hungry, right? And when you look at the amount of power exerted from the machines across the globe, uh, validating the transactions, right? You're also looking at an unsustainable market. And so that is the green side of the discussion.
And where this story was going was that there was apparently a utility entity that was going to try to crack down on people doing the mining at home.
I mean, it might be possible identifying surges, right? Identifying specific pattern. You know, there's a box that you can, a product that you can buy and install in your main breaker circuit, and it analyzes the power consumption inside your home and identifies what type of appliances you have and how much they consume just by the patterns of the waves and their interruptions of the RF
that's
the
clever.
RF noise. Yeah. So something that has been in the market for, I don't know, about I think I started seeing ads for it 3 or 4 years ago. A very interesting concept. The AI is it's AI based, obviously, and it's they're saying that there's like 90% accuracy, right? Which means there's 10% of
that's not much.
Right? And the gist of this story was
impressive.
that people were objecting to the fact that this utility entity wanted to come up with a way to monitor them. So people were saying you can't, and they can.
I mean,
if they want to do
they
it,
can be mad about it. I don't think they can stop it. I don't think even if regulation will disallow usage of that, right? I still see utility companies using that in order to drive lobbying, to drive any type of analysis of how to better serve the network. So it can be used for good and it can be used for bad, right? It's a tool. It will be used. Nobody can really stop somebody from.
Well, you can put it
at
a basic level. You can put it in an isolation transformer, and then if at the even extreme thing, you can put in what they call a motor generator, which is you take the utility power to drive a flywheel generator that develops your own local power, so then they can't tell.
Yeah, because the next step of this is shutting off people's power for whatever God knows reason.
You got to protect all those
you still have
growing
that,
greenhouses.
Right? You have that today with the sign up rebate that they give you. Allow us to take out your AC, right?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, but at least you're volunteering for that. It's once they eventually.
For now.
Oh well, no, you don't need that power.
All those
wait for the lobbying
locally
around that. So for now, it's voluntary.
Alex Jones warned us about this.
You don't want to do that.
That's why I use his toothpaste every day.
I actually do, and it's fluoride free, and I enjoy it.
Yes. You look much better, Nick, now that you're using it too.
That works better now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
less hair loss, less better posture.
I mean, it saved my marriage. It saved everything.
You can get better service at the supermarket because of it.
Yeah.
Do you see what Alan is saying in the chat about ad guards?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and that's the nice thing about something like AdGuard that runs on your whole network is, unlike some of these services that just run inside of Chrome or just run inside of a browser, it's full scope and full network.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's this time of day again. That time of day. Anything else that anybody has? Nope. Nick, did you want to talk to me about something? You said you had something to pick, a bone to pick. Is that
No, I was
private?
no, I was just joking.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I was just making a joke.
All right, then. That was great. Good information flowing. Thanks, Gal. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Spence. And all the audience. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K. Now, we hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily news program. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave, and you can hear him anywhere. That's Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. You can also go to nickcraig.com and listen to all the recordings. And on Tuesdays at 7 p.m., again, Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. That's for survival games and gaming news. So Tuesday, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.